from Lapland National Park, the Wilderness Way. Welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show, brought to you by our mates over at Wiggle.
This week, what do we know now that we wish we'd known when we started cycling, including but not limited to beard trimmers, John Travolta and sprinting?
We've got all the latest transfers in the world of pro cycling, including admitting a mistake that we made on last week's show with that regard. And we've also got a vlog.
Yeah, trendy. Yeah, and the latest cycling controversy.
This week, in the world of cycling, we learnt that motorcycle cornering technique doesn't necessarily transfer that well over to cycling.
That's MotoGP star Scott Redding illustrating the point perfectly, I think.
Also, off the back of last week, where we learnt not to expect too much in the way of performances from Geraint Thomas in the near future after a lot of post-tour partying, it has to be said. This week, we are even more concerned because he appears to have morphed into a rock star.
The thing that concerns me about that video is he's not wearing lycra on stage like a proper rock star should.
Do rock stars wear lycra?
Good ones do.
In all seriousness though, that was an amazing reception that Geraint Thomas got for his homecoming in Cardiff in Wales, wasn't it? It's almost like cycling here in the UK is mainstream, which it certainly wasn't when we started out quite some time ago.
No, that is a very good point, isn't it? And I mean, it was a long time ago that we started out. And it got us thinking that given it's been 25 years apiece, we must have learned a little bit in that time. So what do we know now that we wish we'd known when we started?
Well, you can start with the obvious things, can't you? Like not wearing underwear underneath your chamois.
True, but I'll confess that actually I never had any problems as a kid wearing my Y-fronts underneath.
No chafage?
My cycle. No chafage at all. I only stopped doing it because I read that as a cyclist I shouldn't be doing it. But yeah, that kind of thing. In fact, my one, going to go straight out with this. I wish I'd known how much easier it was to use a beard trimmer for shaving legs.
Is that what you would do? If you went back in time to when you were 8 and gave him some advice, it'd be use a beard trimmer, not a razor. So much easier.
Right. Okay, maybe that's not strictly appropriate for 8-year-old Simon. I might have saved that particular nugget until puberty at least.
I can see why you like it though. I've got picture proof of this because 3 years ago at the foot of the Col du Tourmalet, you were not only shaving your legs with a beard trimmer, but you were simultaneously eating a baguette, weren't you?
There you go,
Multitasking.
yeah. So I should have learned that earlier, basically, but yeah.
I'll tell you what I wish I'd learnt before now, is how to conserve energy when I'm feeling good. It's oh so easy to do that, isn't it, when you're not feeling good, because you have to hide in order to keep up. But when I was feeling good, I used to show it. Didn't happen often, but there were occasions when I felt blooming good.
Go on, mate. Tell us when those occasions were.
2008 National Championships. Ooh. I was flying. It's like I had no chain, diamonds in my legs, felt like $1 million. Wound up 4th because I used all my energy feeling so good. I didn't have anything left for the end.
Yeah. Do you also wish you'd learnt how to put David Miller into the barriers the year before at the Nationals?
Yes, I do. A sprinter would not have let him come through those barriers, would they?
No. To be fair, a sprinter probably would have just out-sprinted him. But never mind.
That's true.
You know, I wish I'd not got quite so obsessed about training to power. Like, I mean, there was a point where I became really, really fixated on hitting certain numbers and then forgetting about other numbers that were probably far more important to my actual racing performance. I don't even have to go back very far to tell myself that.
Good point. Easy to get obsessed with numbers these days, isn't
it?
I wish I'd known earlier on just how important aerodynamics are.
Yes, me too.
I was really into that in the later years of my career, the last 1 or 2 at least, but something last week really brought it home to me once again, and that's because Ollie found out what power Martin Toff Madsen averaged to do 53.6 kilometres in an hour over at that Mexico velodrome. Do you want to hazard a guess as to what his average was?
All right. I'm guessing it's going to be low because you've asked the question.
It is low. There's a clue.
370 watts.
Nowhere near. His average power was just under 300 watts.
Oh my God.
Honestly.
I wish someone had told me that the hour record was so easy. Like, that's ridiculous. Under 300 watts.
You'd have done about 60, wouldn't you, of your FTP?
60 k's an hour, yeah, probably. Yeah, undoubtedly.
To be fair, that was done at altitude where the air is less dense. But that is how important aerodynamics are.
I do sometimes feel that the air is particularly dense where we live. Like, it's hard work sometimes, isn't it? You know, going back to that point about David Miller, I wish I'd, like, just learnt how to sprint.
Well, I'm not sure you can have that in this segment because you need to know about it now, and you still don't know how to sprint.
No, that is a fair point, actually. I don't know how to sprint. I tell you what, then, I wish I could go back and tell my 8-year-old self, instead of the finer points of leg shaving, just practice sprinting. I mean, dear God, practice sprinting, please.
Sprinters tend to have a bit more success, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I wish that I'd known that when I was hurting, the likelihood was that other people were hurting too. Not all the time, obviously, but certain photos I look at, other eyes are grimacing when I was hurting.
That is a very good point, actually. Worth remembering that one, isn't it? That it hurts other people too. Thinking of hurting, I wish I'd known about overshoes. Man, there were times as a kid where my feet got so cold. One winter I even resorted to gaffer taping the holes and the vents up on my shoes to try and keep warm.
You've only got yourself to... Do you know how many magazines which show riders nice toasty warm feet because they were using overshoes?
Well, I had magazines where riders were using overshoes looking slightly ridiculous. It wasn't until I tried a pair at the age of 19 that I realised how amazing they were and what good value they are.
The light bulb came on side.
Basically, yeah.
To be fair, we asked the other presenters what they wished they'd known when they started cycling. Emma said she wished she'd known how good accessories are at keeping you warm, and she specifically said arm warmers and leg warmers.
Clues in the name, Emma. Duh.
Oh, taking the mick, are you? Are you trying to say that if overshoes had been called feet warmers, you might have cottoned on a bit earlier?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, they're just really poorly marketed, aren't they? Overshoes, feet warmers. Yeah. I know which one I'd buy. Now, other ones. Someone said that they wish they'd known that they could take time off. I'm assuming they mean from cycling and not from work because, yeah.
A lot of people in the office, they just said that they'd like to have known how to fix the puncture straight away. That's a really common one, isn't it, for everybody?
Yeah, that is true. How expensive it can be when you become completely obsessed.
And also, one person here in the GCN HQ said that they just wish they'd known about chamois cream. That's all they put.
Well, I'm glad they didn't elaborate, if I'm honest. I think we should probably find out what John Travolta wishes he'd known.
Thanks, John. I think. Right, over to you guys there at home. We would like to know what you would like to have known when you started cycling that you do know now, if that makes any sense at all. Get involved in the comments with your anecdotes below.
Yeah, now we are going to head over to catch up with Ollie, or Angry Lou as he's sometimes known, because he is planning an Everesting, and that's no mean feat. So we're going to be following him as he trains up for it, as he builds his bike for it, and then ultimately as he attempts it.
I'm not sure he's going to make it. This is reverse psychology.
Oh, I see.
I don't think he would do it, Angry Lou.
I'm glad you explained that it was reverse psychology, because that just sounded a bit mean.
Yeah, well, you look like you believed me.
Morning. Right, it is 8 AM and I'm about to go on a bike ride for part of my Everest training. So I'm just having some black coffee. Now, this morning I'm supposed to do 5 hours training, which normally wouldn't be that bad, but I'm supposed to do it fasted for the first couple of hours. And the reason for that is that my coach is trying to get me to become a more fat adapted athlete so that I'm better at burning fat as a fuel source, which will be essential in doing a really long endurance event like an Everesting, because I'm going to be riding probably upwards of 11 or 12 hours. It might even take me 20 hours. So riding that long, I'm going to find it much easier if I can use fat as well as sugar as a fuel source. But the problem today is that outside it's even wetter than an inappropriately signposted floor in a personal injury compensation advert. It's absolutely tipping it down. So I'm just drinking my black coffee and I'm heading out on the trusty canyon. Right, wish me luck.
Oh God, it's pretty grim out today, but it's drying up a bit now. I'm really keen to get as much preparation in as I can because I know that this challenge is going to be the hardest endurance event that I've ever done in my life. So that means making sure I do all that I can to prepare for it, even if it means coming out in the rain when it's wetter than a submarine's number plate. 5 hours complete. Alright, stay tuned for more training as I prepare for this. I've got I'm not just doing fasted rides, there's loads of other different types of training I'll be doing, so I'll be making a video about it. But until then, I'll see you later.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We'll start now, not just with news of cycling shorts, but actually entire skin suits, because at the recent European Championships, Dutch cyclist Jos van Emden took to Twitter to announce that he was actually going to be racing the time trial completely naked because he'd misplaced his suitcase.
Oh dear. Unlike fellow countryman Tom Dumoulin, who you will remember also lost his gym kit at the Tour de France recently, only to get a new skin suit knocked up by his team sponsors Etch Ondo, who were handily just around the corner.
And on a Saturday morning, mind, willing to work.
He was lucky, wasn't he? What Van Emden had to do was borrow a skin suit from his teammate Ellen van Dijk. Although unfortunately he wasn't quite as successful in it as she was, because she won for the third time in a row and he placed 8th.
Yeah. And what was pretty gross, mate, we should say, is the fact that the men's and women's time trials were actually on the same day. No one should ever have to share a used chamois.
It was her spare skin suit, fortunately. For us.
Oh, well,
it wasn't the real one.
Still, we'll add that to the list from earlier, shall we? Never share a used chamois. That's something that you should probably tell
I've never
yourself.
had to do myself. Right, time for some self-promotion. You know I like doing that side, don't you?
Yeah.
This time,
our own trumpets.
It's for the GCN shop. So we've got a new fan kit, which we're going to show you very short indeed. First though, you'll have noticed we've got some special edition t-shirts on. The Tour of Spain, the Vuelta a España, is now just less than 2 weeks away, and these are our special edition t-shirts for that month.
Ironed especially as well, Dan?
Yes, yeah, compared to yours, definitely. We've also got highlights every day from the Vuelta, plus in-depth analysis over on our Facebook page, so stay tuned once again for that. You ready for the fan kit though?
Show us the fan kit, Dan.
Oh, this is the latest
Whoa,
edition.
nice. That is cool, man. I like that.
Does look good.
Matching shorts as well. Obviously, the GCN fan kit shorts are available in the shop as well. Made out of Italian fabric. Very nice indeed.
Head over to shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com if you'd like to get your hands on some of that kit or on these t-shirts. Right, shall we move on to the Olympics?
Yes.
Because last week the courses for the men's and women's road races at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics were announced, and both the organisers and the UCI seem to have once again rightly landed themselves into some hot water, because the challenging courses for the men and women appear to be only really challenging for the men and hardly at all for the women. In fact, they're completely different courses, aren't they? Because the women's doesn't even go around that mountain loop on the foothills of Mount Fuji.
Yeah, I mean, historically, there has always been a difference in the Olympic road races between men and women, and indeed most major championships as well. But normally, it's just a case of fewer laps for the women, whereas in this case at Tokyo, I mean, the difference is really stark, isn't it?
I think there's a lot of people that probably just accept the disparity between the distances of men's and women's professional cycling races. But then when you see it at the Olympics, which is obviously a multidiscipline event, it really brings home the fact that cycling is one of the only sports where there is this kind of disparity. And it's not just for the road races, it also goes for some of the track events, which are short. So what is the answer then? Well, you can let us know what you think the answer is by taking the poll that is on the screen right now. Not as to whether the men's and women's courses should be the same, because that seems like a fairly obvious answer, but rather whether the men's and women's races should be of the same length. Perhaps the men's slightly shorter and the women's slightly longer.
I'm really torn on this, because I wouldn't want to see the men's race any shorter. I love championship courses of 250 kilometres plus. So in this case, I'm going to say I think women should ride the same distance, but just make it longer. Just go 250k.
Yeah, I'd agree. And there doesn't seem any reason not to have it like that, does there? Because one of the best ultra endurance riders in the world is a female, and there's plenty that take part in the Transcontinental, for example. There's no reason not to make it exactly the same length.
No.
All right, shall we go on to the plethora of transfer news that we have this week? No doubt, in the introduction, you were very surprised to hear that we had made a mistake on last week's GCN show about one of the transfers, because it turns out that Pierre Rolland is actually not going from EF Education First back home to Direct Energie. He is still going to a French squad, but it is Vital Concept Cycling Club that he's going to, which, contrary to the name, is actually a professional cycling team.
Yeah, and it actually took us until this helpful video that Vital Concept posted to realise our mistake. Now, what is still not immediately clear, though, is exactly what decade Roland is going to be training in this time. Should we ask Travolta what he knows?
Yeah, what decade, John?
Unclear.
Unclear. One rider who is transferring not to a new team but rather to a whole new career is Simon Gerrans of Team BMC. He announced his retirement last week, didn't he?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Longo Borghini moves over to Trek Factory Racing, and Caleb Ewan confirms that he'll be leaving Mitchelton Scott and going to Lotto Soudal, where Marcel Sieberg is going to be leaving.
I bet he's going to Fortunaire Samsic, isn't he, with Greipel, just as I predicted last week.
Unfortunately not, Dan. He is going to Bahrain Merida, where he's going to be joined by some other big names, actually, mainly from BMC, it would seem. Damiano Caruso, Rowan Dennis, and also Dylan Toons, yeah. And they're going to be joined by Phil Bauhaus, the sprinter from Team Sunweb, and Stephen Williams, who is not a household name yet, but he probably will be soon.
No. Well, they seem to be really bolstering their lineup at Bahrain Merida. BMC, CCC, it seems to be kind of hemorrhaging talent, don't they? We've got a lot of riders there.
Well, that's right, because we've not stopped yet either. Stefan Kung is going to be leaving BMC, CCC for Groupama FDJ. And TJ Van Garderen also confirms that he'll be going to EF Education first. Now, can I say this, Dan, but is he going to finally live up to his promise, do you think, there?
Well, unbelievably so. He's still got time to live up to his promise because he's in his 20s still. Can you believe that?
No,
29 years old, Van Garderen.
Really?
Yes.
I'm genuinely more surprised about that than I am about learning that it's possible to ride 53.6 kilometres in an hour at less than 300 watts. And I was pretty darn surprised about that.
I think they're both lies, basically.
Yeah,
380 watts and TJ Van Garderen's 39.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely older than you.
Final bit of transfer news then. One rider in their 30s, Roman Kreuziger, will be moving to Team Dimension Data, where in fact he'll hook up with Mikael Wilgren, both of whom have won Amstel Gold in the past, haven't they?
Great pronunciation.
Thank you very
much. Really moving things on a pace. Right, now, before we leave Cycling Shorts, let's have an update from Jenny Graham as well, who is currently midway through trying to break the self-supported round-the-world record. She is midway through Australia, having covered 9,048 miles in just 56 days.
Wow. That is an average site of 160 miles every day for those 56 days.
And do you know what that means? Coincidentally, that's the almost exact same distance as the Olympic men's road race. Yeah. So there you go. Jenny Graham's doing it every single day, and she's not even getting a massage at the end of the day. She's sleeping in a hedge, and
the proof is in the pudding.
There we go.
Yeah. Can't believe she's done it as a woman. 56 days of 160 miles a day.
Yeah. What's weird, though, is she currently, despite being in Australia, is battling freezing temperatures, which I don't really believe.
No. In fact, it's 9 degrees during the day, but freezing at night. But the sleet, snow and rain have been taking their toll on her feet. She's been suffering with poor bad feet.
Does she know about overshoes?
Of course she knows about overshoes,
yes,
yeah.
Of course she does. Does she know about the drop bears, though, Dan? That's the question.
Oh, they're nasty. It is time now for GCN's Weekly Inspiration, which is your weekly chance to win one of 3 voucher amounts to spend on what you want over at the Wiggle online shop. So if you're third, you'll get £50. If you're second, it's £75. And the winner each week gets £100 to spend on cycling gear, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, all you got to do is send us your inspirational cycling photos. Now, they can be inspirational in many different ways, but perhaps the best thing to do would be to show you third place, and then we give you a demonstration. This one is Erik Sæther from Norway. He took this whilst on holiday, cycling in the Valle d'Aosta. And that is a pretty inspiring picture to my mind. And everyone loves a good corner. Do you reckon he got his knee down?
It's inspiring for me because he's going downhill, not up it. So I always prefer these days.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he got his knee down.
Ah, that's a shame. Still, very cool.
In second place, this photo comes from New York City and sent in by Geraldo. His BMC road machine, early morning sunrise with the skyrise in the background. Did you like that one?
Speaks to me, that one, Dan. I like living in a city, and one of the things I like about it is leaving it and then on your bike and then seeing it disappear into the distance. So that definitely speaks to me, that one. Anyway, in first place for this week, we've got another Australian switchback. That's right, this clearly does seem to be the way to inspire us here at GCN. This one was sent in by WWW How, and it is the Wall, Mount Dandenong. But doesn't that just look amazing?
That's a lovely, lovely photo, isn't it? Do you reckon sunrise or sunset? Sunrise, it looks like to me.
I'd say sunrise, yeah, but there we go.
Well,
and that's another leaving the city one, isn't it? The Dandenongs are like a escape route for Melbourne, I believe.
Oh, are they?
I think so.
Knowledge. Hashtag knowledge.
Can't
Speaking of
wait there
hashtags, it is hashtag GCN Inspiration on Instagram if you would like to choose that method. Although we've got our uploader now, which you can find a link to in the description below if you would like to do it that way.
Yep. We don't have any preference, do we? This week's winner was from Instagram. Last week's winner was from the uploader. No bias.
For Tech of the Week, we are going to head over to the workshop with Ollie.
This week in the world of tech, we've got a new gravel bike from mountain bike legends Kona. It's called the Kona Libre and it's firmly rooted in the mountain bike heritage of Kona. It's got a really tall head tube to get you in a nice upright, stable position. It's also got really long chain stays and a really slack head angle on the steering. So it's going to corner like it's on rails, you'd imagine. There's also loads of practicality built in as well, with loads of mount points and bolt-on options. So yeah, it's a really cool looking bike, but there's going to be more on that in the tech show on Thursday, where we'll also be delving into the murky world of crowdfunding. And our main talking point this week is going to be, are cyclists actually getting faster, or is it just down to tech? Well, to find out more and join in, you can tune in on Thursday to the tech show, where myself and Si will be discussing all of that. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, remind me, which way is it? That way.
Another way.
Jesus Christ, that way. It's time now for hack/bodge of the week, and we're going to start with this kind of celebrity hack/bodge. This is now the 2 times winner of the Transcontinental race, James Hayden, who you'll have seen over on the Tech channel when he introduced his pro bike. And he had to fix his tyre for the last 500k's of the event. And I think this is a bodge, Dan, if I'm looking at that fix. I know you think it's a hack, but there we go. Let's have a look. Talk us through it. Yep.
Well, he has used a liner to fix the gash in his sidewall there, and then to make doubly sure that that is not going to penetrate through the hole again, he has put some tape over the top of it.
Now, you see, that is a bit that I think is a bit of a bodge. Why would you put tape on the outside of your tyre? No tape is sticky enough to warrant that, surely.
Yeah, well, it's a double wall then, isn't it? So that the tube's not going to burst through again.
Yeah, but
he's just making sure. He needs to get to the finish a long way.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that, James. Anyway, he's coming in, I believe, to see us, to film and ask GCN a thing. And so I'm going to submit a question to him.
Are you?
Say, yeah, did you truly
an angry
bodge
question?
It? Well, no, I'm going to be quite, give him a chance to speak before I judge him. Quite as cruelly as I've just judged him now, in fact.
Yes, before we give him a guilty or not guilty at the end of it. Or
right, jury's out, James.
Next up, we've got a homemade wheel truing stand from Kulo on Instagram.
That's nice, actually.
Some calipers there, as you can see, mounted to some wood inside a frame. Probably
That's
does the job,
really nice, actually. Yeah, I like that very much. That's a hack, I'd say. This is brilliant. This was sent in by Leonard Meinke. So I got bored of my phone almost slipping out of my cycling jersey when in an aero position, and I got worried about the proximity of my phone close to my spine, so I knitted myself a phone holder. And that's a lovely knitted phone holder.
Not in a million years could I have made that.
Nope.
So that's a hack.
Yeah, no, I think
not
that's
everything I can't make is a hack, you'll be aware. We love this one, don't we? It came in on Instagram again from Pixelian. Store your spare cassettes in an old CD/DVD spindle case. Label them with the specification and miles used. Stackable, clearly seen on your workshop shelf.
That really appeals to me. I mean, at the moment, I haven't got anywhere to stack random old cassettes, but when I do, Dan, I will do that.
It's been a while since I've seen Si that excited, actually, as you saw that hack.
It's been a while since I've seen a CD case, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's getting
and
from charity shops now, presumably.
Yeah.
Ken Dobson spotted this over in Sheffield.
Yeah, I can have a look
Newcastle,
at the charity shop
Newcastle
when I'm
Central
looking
Station.
for autobiographies of doping cyclists.
Those are bodges, those mud guards, aren't they? But they will definitely do the job. I mean, even your elbows are going to stay dry.
Well, hang on a minute, mate. Why is that a bodge? Because let's face it, he's got fat tyres on. He's going to need a fat mud guard. I'd say that's a hack.
Are you overruling?
No, I'm just saying we should maybe take this debate outside.
Yeah. Imagine our two arms having a fist fight outside. Come back with minor bruising.
Yeah, it'd take a long time, wouldn't it, to sort that one out. Right, Stuart, inspired by a recent bike fit and having had a problem with knee pain, I made a jig for checking cleat position with my road shoes. And that looks remarkably impressive.
Yeah, simply made out of MDF. It's so simple, but so effective, isn't it? That's a definite hack from me.
Well, I don't know, I feel mean this week, but you've still got the same problem there of actually checking on your shoe, marking where your shoe sits on your jig. It's going to be really difficult, don't you think?
Why can't you just draw around it?
Well, then why does it need all the lines on it?
Well, that's true. I think they look pretty, but I did think you could just draw around his shoe. But then the great thing about the hole is you can just do it up whilst it's in position, can't you? Underneath. Anyway, we shall agree to disagree again this week. Next up,
we'll sort out after we've sorted out the previous one.
Tom put this on our uploader. After being hit by cars twice in 2 years, I glued these small blink lights on the heels of my cycling shoes.
Now that is a grade A hack. After we heard...
Bodge.
No, seriously, because after Emma and Chris were talking about the case for daytime running lights, and they said that to go further than having super bright lights on your bike, actually if you put them on moving parts of the body, they're even more recognisable. Yeah. So there we go. That's like a proper hack, that one.
And then finally, we have got this from Colin, converting a Garmin giant-only computer mount to Wahoo by shaping the Element stem mount to fit.
Whoa.
It's chunky, but it's quite neat. Very neat, actually.
It is, isn't it? That is an almighty step.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, but there we go. We've got to say that's a hack, haven't we?
Yeah, hashtag GCN hack is the hashtag if you would like to get involved in these hacks and bodges. We love seeing them each week. Use it on Twitter or Instagram. Or upload them to our uploader.
Right, outside.
Are you ready? It's Caption Contest. Last week's photo of this Mitchelton Scott mechanic with a wheel to his head at the Tour of Poland. 2 crackers we had, didn't we? We found it hard to decide who the winner was going to be.
Have we even decided yet, Dan? Are we doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
We're doing 2 bottles.
Oh my word, a double winner. In that case then, first up, Shane Burgle. Speak up, I can't really hear you. Followed by Edmund O'Connor. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, the signal is really bad. Genius!
Yes, spot a leech. Write into us on Facebook with a message with your addresses and we'll get one out to each of you. This week's photo is also actually from the Tour of Poland. It is Michał Kwiatkowski atop the podium after wearing the yellow jersey and winning that. I shall get you started.
Go on, I'm waiting for this because...
Michał Me have a cough, see? Covering his mouth, isn't he? Almost.
With a lampshade.
Yes. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but...
anyway, there we go. The bar is set low this week, so please send in your captions. Well, I say send them in. Stick them in the comment section down below, of course, and then we will choose a winner who will receive a GCN water bottle.
Me have a cough, see?
I think they've probably got it now, as much as there is to get. Before we get on to what is coming up on the channel, as we usually do, we're going to take a little bit of an opportunity to have a look at some of the great comments you've been leaving under last week's videos, like this one underneath the 7 lamest doping excuses. Dave Pratt said, as I was looking at your arms, I thought, now there are 2 guys that never took testosterone. Yeah, you do, Dave.
I don't know what he's talking about, but yeah, we won't be going out for that fight, will we? Also, under the same video, we had this from Gustavo Santos. Enjoyed every excuse, but Lurkerman's was the climax. See what you did there? Wasn't there also another funny comment about Lurkerman's being the hard man of Belgian cycling? I quite like that one.
Oh, we're like schoolboys, aren't we, with that video? Anyway, right, now over on Twitter, Michael McDermott pointed out that Chris Opie and James Leslie Williams are kind of as handsome as Thunderbird puppets. And here he is, proving that point with this tweet. Opie and James preparing for the upcoming space cycling series.
There is a similarity there, isn't he? I mean, they've got to decide though. Is he Travolta? Is he... I don't even know the names.
Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Scott, I think that one is.
Is it?
No, hang on a minute. Virgil? Yeah, 1 or 2.
I've got no idea. Never watched Thunderbird.
Did you not?
Talking about John Travolta, the other comment comes in from Jin Yi Chia. Sorry about that. It's John Travolta. He needs a flashing disco ball instead of these puny lights. That was underneath the case for daytime running lights.
I think we probably need to see John Travolta with flashing disco balls, don't we, Dan?
Yes. Well, yeah, I think so. Right, let's go on to what's coming up on the channel this week. On Wednesday, we've got how to spin gears like a pro. On Thursday, we've got some tips for city riding from Si, Chris, and indeed Emma Pooley. And on Friday, it's Ask GC Anything, but we've also got a special bonus video because we're previewing the Zwift Innsbruck World Championship course.
That's right. Then on Saturday, we have got another city cycling video. Actually, this is a city cycling for beginners video. So if you don't feel that is appropriate to you, make sure you share it out because without doubt, we all know someone that could probably do watching that one. Then on Sunday, we have got a great video about Chris and Emma tackling the Maratona. A race you need to watch, that's for sure. Then Monday, it's the GCN Racing News Show. And on Tuesday, GCN Show.
Do we need to watch it? Emma's going to win, isn't she?
Well, no. Chris is a demon descender.
Oh yeah. You're saying him is not?
Nope, just saying Chris has got weight on his side. Oh. Right, we're getting towards the end of the show now, but we have time, of course, for Extreme Corner. And this week, well, frankly, you're going to wince at it, but we are assured that Johan from Sweden is absolutely fine at the end of it all. Oh.
I thought he'd broken his pelvis when I first saw that slow-mo. I'm very glad that he walked off.
I am super glad. I mean, admittedly, no matter how good his overshoes, he's still going to be flipping cold at the end of all that, but still.
Feet warmers do nothing against that ice.
No.
Right, that's almost the end of this week's show. I would like to let you know, though, that we've got 2 races live here on GCN this week. From Thursday to Sunday, we have both the Arctic Race of Norway, featuring Mark Cavendish, and also the Colorado Classic over there in the USA too. So make sure that you tune in for them over on our Facebook page.
That's right, and if you're in the mood for some more videos right now, then I strongly suggest that you head over to the Tech channel, because Ollie has got a great first look at the Shimano Ultegra RX rear derailleur. That's the one with the clutch on it, and illustrating with the help of some pretty hardcore science exactly how it works.